again.
With two big exclusives in the rearview and the PS5 fast approaching on the horizon, we thought that it was high time to take a fresh look at the PlayStation 4's library of games.
I'm sorry.
Do not be sorry. Be better.
This list was compiled by the entire IGN content team and, after plenty of internal debate, represents what we believe to be the very best that the PS4 has to offer. Starting off at number 10 is Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. While Nathan Drake established himself as a compelling lead over the course of the 4 core Uncharted games, 2017's The Lost Legacy proved that the same was true for Drake's supporting cast. Lost Legacy moved the spotlight to the unexpected duo of treasure hunter Chloe Fraser and mercenary Nadine Ross, and discovered that there's a verve and chemistry in a cast even without Nathan Drake.
Nice work.
Not only does Lost Legacy open the door for any number of spin-offs that focus on other characters in the Uncharted universe, it features some of the best gameplay sequences this series has to offer. While there's definitely room for both PS4 Uncharteds on a longer list, The Lost Legacy is our favorite, and hopefully we'll see similar bold choices in the franchise on the next generation as well. An exceptional third-person shooter with a trippy supernatural twist, Control stands out as one of the most unique adventures of the generation. The seasoned team at Remedy Entertainment brought their years of experience to bear on one of the coolest ability and weapon sets in recent memory, which made for some of the most satisfying telekinetic combat ever put to pixels. On top of its excellent superpowered gunplay, Control features some truly inspired environmental design. Its oldest house is a shape-shifting labyrinth like something from a fever dream shared by Stanley Kubrick and David Lynch. Throughout its monster-filled halls, you'll undertake memorable side quests, hunt for upgrades to your abilities and gear, and hunt down a litany of collectibles that all help flesh out the eerie bureaucracy that's at the center of Control's impossibly unique experience. Marvel's Spider-Man is a masterclass in unadulterated comic book fandom, an expertly built world that perfectly encapsulates the childlike wonder of looking up at the looming, inspiring skyline of New York City and the superhero-like triumph of effortlessly scaling and swinging through its tallest buildings. It's a Spider-Man game made by people who deeply, truly, genuinely adore everything about him, and is a gorgeous technical triumph that is utterly sublime to play. The simple act of soaring and flipping through the city is so satisfying and addictive that you may find yourself distracted from the story, but once you do decide to settle down and move the narrative forward, you'll find a heartwarming tale of love and loss, awkward adolescence, and tons of ass-kicking thanks to Spider-Man's excellent combo-based combat system. Along the way, you'll unlock iconic Spidey suits, take down nefarious villains and gigantic explosive set pieces, and bask in the realization that the modern comic book movie renaissance that we're all so gleefully enjoying has finally made its way back to video games. Horizon Zero Dawn is one of the most beautiful open-world games ever crafted. Grass sways in the wind beneath blooming sunrises, while towering cities formed from the ashes of a once prosperous society loom in the distance, and more importantly, giant, awe-inspiring mechanical dinosaurs outfitted with a terrifying array of pseudo-natural weaponry roam the land. When iconic PlayStation developer Guerrilla Games revealed that they were pivoting away from the Killzone franchise to make an open-world robot dinosaur hunting game starring a warrior redhead outfitted like a space cake dealer at Burning Man, the world was cautiously optimistic. And the end result, thankfully, was a vast, wondrous, and unique open-world action game with just the right amount of RPG elements that come together to create a brilliant first entry into what we hope will become a pillar franchise for PlayStation Studios. Taking down a gigantic boss with an active strategy of well-placed melee strikes and projectiles is one of the most thrilling experiences on the PlayStation 4, and looting the shrapnel of a downed robot for much-needed upgrade parts afterwards is equally satisfying. Horizon takes some of the best elements of existing open-world games and weaves them together to make something wholly original, wonderfully refreshing, and wildly fun. Rockstar's latest and greatest open-world felony simulator made its debut at the tail end of the last console generation, handily breaking records as the fastest-selling entertainment property in history. so it's no surprise that it got ported to current-gen consoles. What is surprising, perhaps, is just how much of an upgrade it got in the process. Up-res textures, totally overhauled lighting effects, and a fully functional first-person option were just some of the litany of updates and tweaks to the series' biggest and best game yet. Whether you're after a sprawling single-player campaign that provides a ruthless skewering of 21st century American life, or a multiplayer component with years of big free updates and an extremely active community, or just a sandbox where you can do crimes either alone or with your friends, Grand Theft Auto 5 and GTA Online really does offer something for everyone. A massive, gorgeous JRPG, Persona 5 set a high bar for the genre, and 2020's Persona 5 Royal re-release pushes that bar even higher. An engrossing adventure brimming with style and flair, Persona 5 sees you navigating school life by day and descending into the corrupted minds of Tokyo's more villainous citizens by night in order to coerce them away from their corrupt endeavors. The students who make up Persona 5's ensemble cast leave an indelible mark as they are introduced and further become embroiled in the exploits of the Phantom Thieves. Persona 5 does a great job of balancing the two facets of its gameplay, letting players really dive into the social connections in the real world and allowing those to influence the dungeon exploration and turn-based action of its massive and varied mind palaces. Coupled with a continually engaging combat system, a soundtrack full of earworms, its twisty, wild story, and plenty of additional content on top of the base game, Persona 5 Royal delivers one of the deepest JRPG experiences of the generation, if not of all time. CD Projekt Red's sprawling fantasy epic has become one of the most noteworthy games ever, one that set a new standard for open-world RPGs. With a grim yet gorgeous world that stretches across the better part of an entire continent, every corner, cave, swamp, or city street of The Witcher 3 has something to discover. Its 60-plus hour main story is a great adventure full of mystery and intrigue that draws from the deep lore of author Andrzej Sapkowski's books, but it's Geralt's expertly crafted side stories, monster hunts, and offbeat adventures that really make The Witcher 3 and its two huge expansions truly exceptional. It's a game where you can easily get lost for hundreds of hours and still not see everything it has to offer, but every one of those hours will be absolutely worth it. Bloodborne is a brutally difficult, immensely terrifying action horror game that will immediately kick your ass. You'll spawn, die, and die some more until you throw your controller, swear at your television, and vow to walk away forever. But a voice in your head will begin to ring and linger, calling you back, urging you to return, to push forward, to conquer. Bloodborne is a horrible, vile world where every reward brings risks and fear is palpable. And while its challenges may feel insurmountable, your skill and determination will eventually prevail and you'll press forward through the night. Death is frequent, frustration is certain, but ultimately victory is possible. And when achieved, it becomes one of the greatest feelings in the world. The follow-up to 2013's The Last of Us is the pinnacle of Naughty Dog's storytelling ambitions during the life of the PS3 and PS4. Part 2's ambitious, uncompromising story delivers at nearly every unexpected turn, with character arcs that are poignant, risky, and devastating. It asks you, the player, to do your best to reckon with moral ambiguity in ways that have evoked some of the strongest across-the-board reactions that we've seen from any game ever. It's also perhaps Naughty Dog's most mechanically complex game to date, and its stealth and action systems deliver moment after moment that feel like they should be scripted but are instead entirely dynamic. It may be one of the more divisive games of the generation, but it's also one of the best. An absolute haymaker of a game that we still can't stop thinking about. 2018's God of War shows an obvious level of care that went into crafting its world, characters, and gameplay, evolving a long-standing PlayStation franchise into a testament to the power of storytelling in games and making it our choice for the best PlayStation 4 game, period. Every aspect of God of War feels intentional, interconnecting with every other major aspect of the game, making exploring every inch of its world a rewarding opportunity. Everything from the main story to side missions to seemingly innocuous collectibles factor into your understanding of this new Acer-inspired world and its major players. It somehow never makes any of that feel like a dry history lesson, though, and God of War is constantly making smart, economical use of its storytelling. It's also just such a fun experience, with the new Leviathan axe being one of the most satisfying game weapons we've used since we originally picked up the Blades of Chaos back in 2005. And bundled with smart progression, fascinating environments, and an impactful story that offers an insightful exploration of one of gaming's most notorious anti-heroes, God of War is undoubtedly one of the best experiences of the generation as a whole, and a shining example of what the PlayStation 4 has to offer.
You cannot change. You will always be a monster.
I know.
Those are our picks for the top 10 PlayStation 4 games ever, and you can read the full list of our picks for the top 25 PS4 games over on IGN.com. Let us know in the comments what's on your list that didn't make ours, and for everything else PlayStation and beyond, you're already in the right place here at IGN.